Hello, everyone. Good day to all of you guys. Um, Welcome to Lights, Cameras, and Scream. Your hosts, Leon here. So today, this is going to be a non-horror or thriller talk today, and so I'm going to go over a movie that I'm currently borrowing from a friend of mine, which he was generous enough to let me borrow his copy. And just recently, like last week, I got to sit down and watch three of the movies in 3 separate days. This right here, Lord of the Rings. Uh, Watched all of them: Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King. Great films. I do enjoy all of them. I will say my favorite out of the trilogy is the Two Towers, which I feel that this is where things starts to get very suspenseful, and the story gets to the point where things starts to get built up during the middle of the trilogy, which I have to say I do love the movie. And that my little backstory with this is that, for one, when I was a young kid, I never grew up reading fantasy books. I will say that that Lord of the Rings, after I finished watching Lord of the Rings when I was young, I would say in the theaters, that was around 2001, 2002, 2003. That's when I ended up discovering a lot more about J.R.R. Tolkien and the works that he's done. And I would say the only books I read from J.R.R. Tolkien's is The Hobbit. And overall, that's about it, really. So The Hobbit is one of the novels I've jumped onto when I was a teenager, but I didn't get around into reading the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I will at some point. I'll have to see how or how what at some point when I'm going to make time to read the books. Uh, who knows? I will see about making this happen this year, because anytime I will say, um, I want to read the books, but I don't have the time for it. But I do got to make the time for it, because you know what, I really need to make the time. And it's a shame, really, because you know you have all the time in the world to look up apps and look up videos and whatnot, but not the time to put the invest your time into reading, which your time can be so precious, and all that time can go to waste on something else. Which I after rewatching the movies, I've said to myself, I'm going to go ahead and find a copy of the books and start reading all three of the trilogies, because that would be a very exciting, fun journey to do. But the movies, I will say that the experience watching it, like the second time around, because the first time around was in the theaters many years ago. I don't remember the films after you haven't watched a movie for so long that it's you end up forgetting parts of the movies after you haven't watched it in a very long time. And so that's why I came back to watching the motion picture trilogy right here, because this is such an amazing um movie trilogy. But of course, people will debate with me on that. It's like, nah, I've seen better trilogies before, but hey, who knows? Because now let me open up the. There we go. So this one, what I do like about the Lord of the Rings, which here you got the Blu-ray version of the film, which I like it right there. It looks really good, and I've watched it on a big 4K TV on the living room where I've watched it. It's absolutely stunning. The only thing I do wished back with these all the copies is if they had a full screen mode instead of the widescreen where it has uh, the black bars from on the top and the bottom, which I don't know. I'm always been a fan of the full screen. Um, yeah, this full screen viewing. But either way, when I watched it, it just felt like a very much of a cinematic experience, which I do enjoy. Now the Blu-ray version is just a movie, uh, and there's just a few features, but that's about it too. Because really, there's not much to it with the Blu-ray version, but the DVD version, if you want special features, then you got the DVD version for all three of them, for the Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, and the Return of the King. So yeah, that's one thing I will say, that you got all the movies and the special features on there, which is still great. And hopefully one day I'll grab my own copy and see how that goes, because I would love to continue building up a collection like for fantasy movies, which will be super awesome. But either way, it's always been one of those movies I happen to come back and appreciate, like the Lord of the Rings, and especially the mastermind of the books, which J.R.R. Tolkien is incredible, and that's why I want to get around to reading the books too. Which, let's face it too, I'm sure there are parts of the books that didn't come into this film, so I'm sure that there are things that didn't wasn't added. So that's why Peter Jackson may have had to cut off parts of the film, or who knows. Which I definitely endure this film a lot, and this is one of the things that really was part of my childhood, and I love this movie. Again, I don't watch this movie a lot because it's, for one, it is super long. So, and I would say my advice for anyone is, if you love epic fantasies, or that has to do with war, which I would say I do recommend watching the Two Towers and Return of the King, which that's where you have a lot of action going on with the two films. Which the Fellowship of the Ring, on the other hand, the Fellowship of the Ring, it's pretty much the starting point of the film, getting to know each characters and the plot settings and who they are individually too. Which in the first film you don't see that epic war or epic fantasy battles like you do with the Two Towers and the Return of the King. Which, that's something I would say that if you're looking for action, good. But if you're starting out with the Two Towers, sure, there's a lot of action, but you don't want to start with that too, because otherwise you'll end up confused and not knowing the story and the background of the characters. Which I have to say though, this is one movie, if I had to own a copy of my own, then this is it right here too, The Lord of the Rings. But overall, I gotta say, amazing film, and this is something I would love to watch and watch it again and again, even with guests that are pretty much into fantasy. So there you go. So that is my take of The Lord of the Rings. But either way, guys, if you have other films that you want me to check out, let me know down in the comments below. I do read them all the time here over at Lights, Camera, and Scream. But I do want to come into the channel more often, reviewing like horror, thrillers, and other movie titles I want to watch, because I definitely want to grow this channel a lot more and get into more movie talks. So that would be very, very interesting. So anyways, guys, let me know your take. What my question to all of you: what is your favorite Lord of the Rings movie? And tell me why down in the comments. So anyways, with that said, hope you've enjoyed this video, and have a good one. Take care.